Hey guys, it's Raythe from Raythereign here, and this is our second episode of Ghost Stories. So last time I talked about things that had happened to me in my house. This time I'm going to talk about some of the things that have happened to friends. And some of these are a little bit scarier than what happened to me, though when I was retelling those to you, I have to admit I got a little bit of a chill. And I'm glad, by the way, you might not know this, but my house was knocked down after we left, and a new home was built on the site. So in some ways, we were the last people to be there, and maybe that stopped whatever was happening. But let's talk about babysitting. I know, not the most fun thing to do, but there's been tons of horror movies out there about what happens when you're taking care of someone else's children, you're a teenager, and you're alone. Well, one of my very good friends was taking care of a little girl whom she adored, but they had moved into a new house. And the little girl had become afraid of her closet in her new bedroom, which, closets underneath the bed, it's sort of typical. You don't really think of it as anything other than a little kid's nightmare. And so the parents told my friend, yeah, she's having this issue with the closet. Before she goes to bed, we'd like you to show her that it's, empty, and then shut it firmly, and all well and good. So my friend was like, okay, no problem. She and the little girl got along really well, so this was not going to be an issue with them. So it was time for the little girl to go to bed. So she had all the lights on in the bedroom. She turned the light on in the closet. It was filled with the little girl's, literally pink. She wore pink and white and canary yellow and all bright colors. And there was nothing in there that was scary. And so the little girl, she offered her to go in and said, check it out, and make sure that nothing's there. And nothing was there. So she turned off the closet light. She shut the door. She turned off the lights in the bedroom, and she just had the nightlight on, and she sat with the little girl in the bed, and they were just talking. And suddenly the little girl stiffened, and she was looking at the closet. And my friend slowly turned around, and the closet door was open. So her first thought was, not all the way open, just cracked. Oh, I must not have firmly engaged the lock mechanism that just didn't totally click in. I'll go over there, and once I do that, it won't open again. So she got up, turned all the lights on again, turned on the light in the closet, showed the little girl there was nothing going on, explained what she thought had happened, which is that she hadn't shut the door firmly and that everything was fine. The little girl did not say anything, but she gave my friend the impression that she was, how shall I say, placating my friend. Like, okay, sure, you're right, but she didn't believe a word of it. So my friend, again, she turns off all the lights, shut the door firmly this time, made sure that it wasn't going anywhere, that it was completely flush in, turned off the light, sat back down on the bed with the little girl, and they again talked. I think she just told her a story, and everything seemed fine. And my friend got up to leave the room. And when she got to the door of the girl's room, she noticed that the closet door was open again. The little girl, though, had not seen this. So my friend went over to the door and she firmly shut it. She thought, it's got to be a draft. It's just got to be something wrong with the door, all this kind of stuff. But she couldn't actually make herself look inside. But she went to the living room where they had this television set up. And the couch they had was not pressed up against a wall, but was actually, its back was to the hallway for where the bedrooms were. And she was sitting on this couch watching television, waiting for the parents to get home. And she suddenly had this distinct impression of someone watching her. She lurches upright, spins around, and the little girl is standing at the edge of the hallway. She's clutching a stuffed animal, and she is pale as milk. And my friend's heart is like thumping in her chest so hard, and she's like, what's wrong, honey? It had been about, 30 minutes, 45 minutes since she put her to bed. and the little girl mumbles something. And my friend's like, honey, you've got to go to bed. And she's just like, I can't. The door is open and I keep seeing fingers coming out of the closet. My friend's like, fingers? And she's like, from what's inside? So my friend is still determined to help this girl not be afraid of her new room, even though she feels a bit unnerved. And this little girl is not a liar. She's not that type of fabulist, those little kids who make up stuff. And so she takes the little girl's hand and leads her back to the room. And the little girl is really reluctant, but she doesn't cry or scream. She sort of like goes behind my friend's legs as they're approaching it. And sure enough, the closet door is open, but wider this time than it was before. So about 4 inches now instead of 2. And my friend is sitting there and she then notices that it's Arctic cold in the room. Unlike it's almost like there was a division line. You step into the bedroom, icy. Step into the hall, warm. And she's standing there and she's thinking to herself, if I behave like I'm afraid, like something's really wrong, this little girl will never sleep in her bedroom. Her parents will be so angry with me. I can't do that. It must just be a draft. That's all this is. So she goes to flip on the lights, and the little girl tightens her hand around my friend's and says, no, we won't see it with the lights on. It'll hide. It only shows up, basically, when the lights are off. My friend goes over to the closet with the little girl, and she's going to open it wider so she can see inside. And her heart is literally thudding heavily in her chest. That feeling where you're like, oh my God, this is such a bad idea. It's like when you're in the horror film and you're going to go into the deep, dark woods or go into the basement or up into the attic, or, as in this case, go into the closet. She tries to pull open the door and it won't open any farther. It's almost like somebody had a hold of the doorknob on the inside and was fighting her. She's sitting there like trying to smile, trying to act like nothing is wrong when the door will not open. And the little girl is looking up at her knowingly. She knows that this is happening. So my friend inches around so that she can see through the space that is open. And she tries to behave like, oh, let's see who's in there. All the time, cold sweat has broken out on her upper lip and forehead. And she is not sure what's going to happen. So she looks in, and at first all she sees is blackness because, only the lights from the hallway are shining into the room. The closet is mostly shut, and the only light that was going to be coming in there was through the hinges on that side. And at first she sees nothing. Then she sees something gray. That dead gray color, like, can't quite explain it in any other way other than to say that it's a dead gray, almost like storm cloud gray. And it's like someone's shoulder, like a bare shoulder. She can't help it. She jerks back, gasps, and basically takes a few steps away. She's thinking to herself, there's an intruder in the house, there's this, there's that. But in her heart of hearts, she knows that there's no intruder in the house, that whatever this is, it's not an intruder. It's here, and it's not human. She flies over to the light switch. She jams it up, and the little girl's just watching her at this point, and she goes over and she grabs the door handle and wrenches it open. There's no pull at this point. It just flies open. And of course, there's nothing inside. She slams the door shut, but she keeps the lights in the little girl's room on. She says, we're going to watch television together. So she and the little girl leave the bedroom. And the problem was, though, my friend could not keep her back to the hallway where the bedroom was because she kept feeling that sensation of being watched but she knew that the only other person was a little girl and she was beside her. So my friend basically sat sideways on this couch for 2 hours, keep looking down the hallway. Nothing came, but she never babysat there again. The parents came home and she just said, oh, the little girl just wouldn't go to sleep or whatever, whatever. And she doesn't know what the little girl told her parents after that, but she never babysat there again and she never wanted to go back there again. And I believe her because this was something that she needed the money for. So she wouldn't have, she was imaginative, but she wasn't that imaginative. So that is the story for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. It really, as I'm like telling it, I'm completely unnerved as I was when she told it to me. Again, I want to hear those stories of yours in the comments below. We're going to have another story coming up next week. Take care, you guys. Thanks.